Good morning. Rise and shine, my friends. Today is Friday, June 28th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Katherine Hobbs. Thank you so much for starting your morning with me. Today we'll hit 101 degrees outside with exceptionally high humidity, so basically it is going to feel like soup outside, which is just what we want in the summer months. All right, it is Friday, y'all, and we are closing out the week with some big national and statewide news. So for today, we're zooming out of North Texas for a few minutes before dropping right back into the Metroplex with some weekend plans for you. Let's get into it. Last night, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump took the stage in their first debate ahead of November's elections. Biden stumbled through some of his answers, appearing to many as hoarse and weak. His campaign said that the president had a cold. Trump largely kept his composure, but he dodged questions and tallied more than 30 lies, according to fact-checkers. Some wondered in post-debate commentary if the Democratic Party might be better off with another and younger candidate. But post-debate polls have showed that the verbal sparring match likely didn't move the meter for single-party voters. We're seeing the first charges against Uvalde law enforcement for their botched response to the Robb Elementary School shooting in 2022. Texas Public Radio's Kayla Padilla reports 2 former Uvalde officers are charged with child endangerment.
The Uvalde County Grand Jury has indicted former school district chief of police Pete Arredondo and former officer Adrian Gonzalez for their mishandled response to the mass shooting. Arredondo turned himself in Thursday. These are the first criminal charges filed against Uvalde law enforcement since a shooting over 2 years ago. Arredondo was the presumed incident commander on that day, but according to a Justice Department review, he failed to show incident command training. Arredondo and Gonzalez have been charged with abandoning and endangering a child, which here in Texas is a state jail felony. This comes after 2 years of victims' families calling for police accountability for that day. I'm Kayla Padilla in San Antonio.
Houston Congresswoman Jackson Lee is one of the 2 longest-serving members of the Texas delegation, and she revealed earlier this month that she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider looks at the implication of Jackson Lee's announcement, which comes as she runs for her 16th term in office this November.
Jackson Lee revealed her diagnosis in a written statement on June 2nd. It was less than 3 months after she'd won renomination in a hotly contested Democratic primary.
They said it would be a close race, but look what the people of the 18th Congressional District said.
And just over 5 months before she's scheduled to face the voters again in the general election. She did not specify what type of pancreatic cancer she has or how advanced the disease is.
When we refer to pancreatic ductal adenocarcinoma, that is specifically the one that carries a grim prognosis.
Dr. Curtis Ray is a professor of surgery at UT Health, Houston.
And we would say a 5-year survival rate less than 13% for all pancreas cancer patients.
Dr. Ray says the disease is all too common. According to the American Cancer Society, in 2024 alone,
there's an estimated 51,000 people in the U.S. will die from pancreas cancer. And specifically in Texas, they would say approximately 3,600 Texans will die from pancreas cancer this year.
Now Jackson Lee faces a difficult decision. Does she still run for re-election while battling a potentially deadly illness? Robert Robbins is a professor emeritus of political science at Tulane University.
For many people who have been in politics, politics is their life. It's the most important part of who they are.
Texas state law requires a congressional candidate to decide no later than 74 days before Election Day whether they'll withdraw from the race. That's just under 2 months away. So what if Jackson Lee were to withdraw? Then her district's Democratic precinct chairs would select a replacement candidate. But there's little indication she plans to do that, and even less that her diagnosis will turn off Democratic voters.
A person would rather have their person sick in office than some other to a different political party will.
There are several recent examples of politicians who've run or continued serving while dealing with a serious illness. John Fetterman did nothing to hide having suffered a stroke after his 2022 primary, and Pennsylvania voters elected him to the Senate anyway. But California Senator Dianne Feinstein was criticized for being less than forthcoming about her own health in her final years, particularly her mental fitness.
The American voting electorate is very forgiving, very understanding of politicians' frailties and human condition, and they just want transparency.
David Clementson teaches public relations at the University of Georgia.
Because when politicians are not upfront and clear about their human frailties and diagnoses, the public suspects a cover-up.
And according to John Rogan of Fordham Law School, it's to Jackson Lee's credit that she announced her diagnosis when she did.
It really is important that candidates and members of Congress like Representative Jackson Lee be open with the public about their health, because it has a direct impact in a lot of cases on their ability to represent their constituents.
Rogan notes members of Congress aren't under any legal obligation to publicly release health information. He says U.S. lawmakers have medical privacy rights just like any other citizen.
That was Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider. The Olympic trials continue this weekend with several North Texas hopefuls already on the Team USA roster. Meanwhile, the Rangers play the Orioles tonight, and the Wings will face off against the Storm tomorrow night. Now, you might know Beethoven for his 772 compositions, ranging from symphonies to sonatas to chorale music that helped usher in the Romantic era of music. But did you know that he also struggled with multiple chronic illnesses and disabilities? New research suggests that the virtuosic pianist and composer might have had lead poisoning that contributed to some of his ailments. Away from the fortepiano, Beethoven navigated deafness, debilitating gastrointestinal disease, and jaundice, and scientists were able to determine that lead poisoning may have had a hand in this by recreating his genome from locks of his hair. Well, it may not be May the 4th, but it is the weekend of June 28th, and that means it's time for the Rebel Scum Con in Allen. The independent Star Wars fan convention will host over 35 guests from across the saga with plenty of fan activities. Tickets start at $50, and for more going on across North Texas this weekend and beyond, check out kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for starting your day with me today. I am so glad you take a few minutes to listen each morning. Be sure to subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA newsletter, also by yours truly, at keranews.org, and give us a follow over on Instagram and Threads at KERATX. I'm Katherine Hobbs. We'll chat again on Monday.